Hello, and welcome to that Eurovision podcast, Eurovision with a slice of life. My name is Rory, and I'm not doing too bad today. It's very windy outside, and so I've decided to keep myself indoors and make myself nice and cozy and strap myself in for a lot of controversy that's going to be coming our way in this episode. And joining me...
Jazzy, not so cozy here because it is pretty hot outside and I went like a mile walk podcast, but we're doing okay and very excited for the topic that we are going to be talking about today.
The topic came about because you suggested it while we were in the middle of talking about what we'd planned to do. So yeah, it's Rosie. I am doing pretty well. I've finished work for the week, so even though I've spent today trying to deal with 43 different police forces in the UK, I am very happy to not have to be doing that anymore. It's beautifully warm here, and I'm lying in bed with the window open and a large bottle of cola by the side of my bed.
Not wearing the dressing gown. This is sacrilege.
I'm not in my dressing gown. I've actually left my house today.
What? What is this?
I know, right? But sometimes a girl just needs some bread.
Alright then, Tim here. It is unseasonably warm where I am right now. If you can't hear anything, it's just because I've got the fan next to me in full blast. But yes, unseasonably warm plus double glazing windows equals a very hot Tim. And I can't open the window because things will just start to fly in if I open it. So
yeah, that's the problem I'm having because it's like, oh no, they're gonna come in.
Yeah, I was like, no
window.
Like, I've got the fan on, and I'm at that point where I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. I'm gonna have two fans just blasting wind right next to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need this. It's too hot. I can't.
See, if only I could join in on that, because it's just very... It's not cold, but it's very windy and very overcast and very cloudy. So, you know, if you want any coldness, just come this way, okay?
Like, to be fair,
Looks for flights.
23 here feels a hell of a...
It's 26 here, so I'm sweltering.
Yeah, it's 26 where I am as well.
It's only 16 here, guys. Haha. Oh, dear. But yeah, so this week, as Rosie alluded, we were supposed to be talking about a specific country, but that episode is actually going to be coming out a little bit later. So this week, we're actually going to be looking at our favourite entries that actually didn't qualify for the final. So, of course, there's a multitude of different songs that did not end up making it to the final, which is a shame because some of them were robbed and some of them less so. And yeah, so what we're going to be doing is that we'll be guiding you through our third, second, and first placed for going from least robbed to most robbed. And then we'll also throw in one honourable mention, just for good measure. So, we're as well to kick off with our third place. So, does anyone want to sort of take the lead on picking third place here?
It was my idea, so my third place, it would be Belarus 2015.
Oh, that's a good song.
I just think it's just a bop, and whenever I listen, like, it's like in 2015, it was probably my most listened to song, like out of all the songs in the contest that year. It's just a song that, like, I've always enjoyed, and I just think, like, Belarus are, like, in general, just a country that just often don't get what they deserve. Like, they deserve better in Eurovision, but I feel like 2015 was like the main song that really got robbed for them. And also the staging, like, he was on his own stage, but it was still, like, to me, it was staged really well. And, like, there was just, like, nothing in this that makes me think, oh, that deserved, there was a reason why it didn't qualify. Like, for me, there is no reason for this to not have made the final.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Like, Belarus was my number 2 in 2015, so I can definitely understand your sort of bitterness towards it. And you know, time is like thunder.
Yeah, it had a really catchy hook.
It
and,
did.
Like, I just thought, oh, televote. There's like that time is like thunder. You just think, oh, televoters will just grab onto that hook, but obviously they didn't. And like, I also thought the semi that they were in was particularly weak, and I do think some of the weak entries in that semi did qualify over this, and I just think that upsets me a little bit.
What is it with songs called Time doing badly at Eurovision?
I don't know. That could be a very interesting.
2017 was robbed as well, albeit that did qualify, but I don't think it would have done had it not already been the host entry.
Yeah.
And I feel it would probably be on my list right now.
Well, just taking a look at the results, Time actually would have qualified were just a 100% jury vote, because actually it came 7th in the jury vote, but it came 13th in the televoting. So the televoters just managed to kill it off.
Yeah, because I just thought the televoters would have gone for that, maybe more than the jury, because like, I don't know, Belarus just like seemed typical to me, where they're a country where they would get like televoters because they obviously have that bot. And like sometimes like the juries tend to push these countries down because of the block voting. And I think there's quite a few countries in there that would have typically voted for them as well. Maybe it also shows that the televoting in the Eastern Bloc is waning a little bit.
Maybe.
Because it had such a weak televote, despite being quite... I think there was quite a few in that semi, like Russia, Moldova, Romania.
Armenia.
Yeah.
And I'm just a bit surprised that Moldova ranked higher than this.
Oh, don't say that. Moldova was a good song.
It nearly qualified. I'm still laughing at that.
It's quite an interesting divide, though, because Belarus got 39 points, Moldova got 41 points, and then the first entry that qualified, which was Albania, got 62. So it's actually quite a big jump in terms of the borderline between qualifying and not qualifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think before the new voting system came in, the jumps usually tended to be pretty big, usually, which is, I think that's quite a thing to take on board. But I think as like they've merged the two systems, like voting between 10th and 11th is often a lot closer.
I think it's gotten a bit closer since they introduced the new system.
Oh, I mean, look at how 2019 played out. It was only 2 points and 1 point.
And a shit jury.
And Italy,
Zayn and Larry said, let's break the rules, and they did.
Like in Italy, did the televote also like have technical issues? So it wasn't just the jury; it's like countries didn't qualify.
Countries take note.
Albeit, I don't think Lithuania should have qualified in 2019 anyway. But
that's a story for another time.
Yeah,
that is a story. Save that for a 2019 retrospective.
Yeah, definitely.
So my third place, and took a lot of thinking to choose which one, but I've decided my third place is Stones from Switzerland in 2018.
Oh, yeah.
I think everything about it was just so good. It was a proper sort of indie rock song. She sang fantastically. I loved the staging with the flair, and I'm just really sad it didn't qualify. And I think 2018 for me is quite a strong year, and there's not many songs in the semi it was in that I would have qualified sort of below it. But also at the same time, I'm still really sad it didn't qualify.
See, Stones is a really good song, but like you'd said, it was a very, very strong year. So I mean, of course, that was also the semi-final of Death as well.
Yeah, so it was.
It was going to some of our faves were not going to make it, and unfortunately, I remember when Stones was like first picked in 2018, and a lot of people sort of wrote it off until we got to the rehearsals when the staging started coming out and the concept with the flare and the way that it was like the red kind of dark aura about it, and then it
really
shot up
worked for me
exponentially. It's just a shame that it got just a little bit too late.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of songs in that semi that I think I like less than it, but they were songs that did very well, so I don't feel like I can necessarily go and say they shouldn't have qualified over it, because clearly everyone else liked them.
Like, for me, I think like something that may have hurt them is that I think they went just before Ireland and Cyprus, which Ireland was being hyped up because of all the political correctness around it with Russia and China, and obviously Fuego's Fuego. And I feel like Switzerland preceded it, but I do not think this is a reason it should have NQ'd.
Taking a look at it again, the televoters were the ones that kind of killed this off, because in the jury Switzerland came 10th, but in the televoting Switzerland came 15th.
That's why.
Damn the televoters! I say we should scrap the televote.
Yeah, scrap the televote. Let's go back to juries.
Oh God! Imagine the drama for that.
Oh dear.
Like, pretty much my whole top 5 would have been eradicated in 2018 if we got rid of the televote.
Yep, I can kind of agree with that.
Oh dear.
All right, my third one, same year as Rosie, but Rosie, I'm gonna sly in on this because this entry beats Stones. So my third robbed entry is.
I think I know what you're gonna say.
Is Izelle and Cross My Heart.
I cross my heart, I tear down the firewalls. I cross my heart, I'm stronger than cannonballs.
That's not the one I thought you were going to say.
Oh, that's
I
not
thought
the
we
one
were
I
going to go
thought.
for a matter of time.
No, as much as I love Senec, I knew that was gonna go downhill.
Oh.
But no, for this one, I picked it because out of all of the Azeri entries, this should not have been the first NQ. I can think of other better suitable entries for that, and I don't know how the hell those entries went through, but this one didn't. And the fact that she opened the show, and I was in Altice Arena on that performance, and she really got the crowd going. But I'm guessing it didn't translate very well. I mean, I looked at the result. She became consistent. I think it was 12th.
Yeah, she came 12th both actually the same points, so that she got 47 with the televoting and 47 with the jury.
So a consistency for Azerbaijan at least. But the thing is, though, the reason why I would pick it, I would not have minded it not qualifying, because the country that was 10th was Sarah. And I was not going to take that away from her. So if I had my choice between Monsters and Cross My Heart, it would have been Monsters, because Sarah's been waiting to go a lot of times.
I was like, am I about to get really offended here?
Monsters deserved better, and that's the truth.
Yeah,
Very
so if that was that surface choice that I did not mind making, because of the fact that I knew Sarah's had been going for it for so long, and I'd let that be. But I think had it been on a later position and not the starting point, I think it could have nudged a bit more votes.
Yeah, I do think, because I think Sarah's jury result was really. I feel like if X My Heart was on later, I think the televote may have just nudged her in, and that hurts me because Monsters is my number one of 2018. So I can say that although I love X My Heart and I think it's a really, really good song, I'm happy things went the way they did. And also I apologise to Rosie too.
Funnily enough, though, I still listen to Cross My Heart. I got this weird thing. I listen to it when the plane's about to take off.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, I'll never stop. Up, Luna, moon, me.
Because fun fact, when I was compiling this list, I was thinking of the 2018 NQs, everyone. I was just like, I can't really include them, can I? Because of what would have happened, the implications of what would have happened.
That's like there are the songs that I would have not qualified from that semi-final are songs that came much higher.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's two
Okay.
songs that I wouldn't have qualified, which I'm not going to mention because I think they have fair few.
Wait until the
Yeah.
2018
Somewhat
retrospective
the
and then it'll
same.
be fine.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So my third place, we're gonna take a little trip back to 2008, and it's actually at the time former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. So, but now North Macedonia,
yes.
and
Now it's the former Yugoslav
The former.
Republic of Macedonia.
Yeah.
I didn't
And-
say those words at all.
And actually, it's I have to get the right order of the names. So it's Tamara, Verchak, and Adrian with "Let Me Love You."
Let me love you, just let me love you. Unfold your angel wings, fly out from my wildest dreams, and let me love you, just let me love you.
And for those of you who may be somewhat new to sort of the older days of Eurovision, Tamara is the same Tamara that represented North Macedonia in 2019. So
We stand a redemptive queen.
We do. It was a fantastic, really good song. And I think it was hated on for kind of not really any sort of real reason. Of course, given the way that the voting was at the time, actually, Macedonia was supposed to have actually qualified from that semi-final because it came
I'm
in 10th
loving that
place.
rule. I'm loving that rule.
Yeah, but because of like the teething issues of the whole sort of new two semi-finals thing, they decided to try out the juries, and that's why we ended up getting Charlotte Pirelli in the final instead of
Ooh.
Tamara, Verchak, and Adrian.
Oh,
So
Oof.
I can understand why perhaps they would have preferred Sweden over Macedonia, but at the same time, it was just a really good song, and it was like it was kind of had like nice kind of R&B elements in it. I'd like Tamara's vocals are really, really good. I did think that the staging was a little bit kind of messy, but overall I think out of the quality of songs, I do think Macedonia should have qualified over Sweden, but
I'm just gonna say this.
Like-
Raise your hands up if you were victimized by the staging implications of that country.
I mean that's pretty much every single like year up until 2019.
Because the 2018 one was the one that really annoyed me just a tiny bit.
See, I love Lost and Found though. Lost and Found was my number 2 of 2018. So
It was my number one, and it got and when I saw the staging on actual live, I was like, no.
Why did you do this?
Why did you do that?
no. MRT, we'd love you, but at least you've managed to grow from there, you know?
And the fact that you've managed to turn it around within 1 year and do that.
Keep it up. Yeah, so will we carry on with our second places now?
we will.
Yes.
My second is Viamen by Uva Botto, Slovenia 2012.
Okay.
Merhamen na znova ujela se Boba im širaj zazmiraj se vrne sreko noči.
Okay.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
I just think this song is absolutely stunning. Like, it's sung so well, and it's just like it's a very typical like not a Balkan ballad, but like from that area, like you would know it's from like the east of Europe,
Yeah.
and it's just an amazing. I just feel like it's one of those songs it just wasn't appreciated enough, and it did really badly. It came like
Second last.
yeah, and that's just undeserved. It should have qualified. Like, I'm so bitter this did as badly as it did. because like she was 16 at the time, and I think to do what she did, to sing it the way she did, I listen to this song a lot. I have it like on my just non like Eurovision favorites playlist. To be fair, in 2014 I didn't actually watch semi-final, but like I went back on Spotify for like contests prior to when I started watching the semi-finals in 2014, and it was like I fell in love with this song first listen. And you know when a song just takes you, like it's just like an experience to listen to, like in a good way. Like that's what I got with this.
I really like that description. It makes me want to go back and listen to it.
I just remember
You
that.
should. It's amazing.
I just remember that, like, in the run up to 2012, like, I used to watch like a lot of sort of YouTube videos of like everyone's sort of top 42, 43 or whatever, and Verjaman was like one of the highest kind of songs. Like I remember it being a big fan favorite, but then like when I'm looking at it in the televoting, it actually came third last. And like we had countries like Slovakia that came actually last overall, actually beating it in the televoting results. So I wonder what happened.
I don't know. Like I feel it's one of those songs that it may have appealed to the Eurovision fans, but I don't know if it would have appealed to a wider public because it did feel quite traditionally Slovenian.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was the issue, but obviously, us in the Euro fandom are not going to mind that and be swayed by it. But you get I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 2 most robbed is from 2015, and I really like 2015 as a year. I think it's a really strong year overall. I know not a lot of people think that, but I really like the vast majority of the songs, but my one big robbery is Playing with Numbers by Molly Sterling. I was listening to it earlier today actually and just having a little bit of a sing-along going up the road, so it was just perfect. I love that song. I think it is just beautiful, and it makes me feel so sort of melancholy and whimsical, and I'm still incredibly sad that it didn't qualify. I mean, it was in the second semi-final in 2015, and it came 12th, and the song that came above it was Warrior 2.0 from Malta, which I also really like as a song, so I really wouldn't have minded if that qualified. But also, I'm just Playing with Numbers is just so beautiful.
What broke my heart about that Malta comment you made, Rosie, was that the fact that had the new rules been intact, then it would have qualified.
Aww.
It would have just made it, but no.
And as well, speaking of what Jazzy said earlier in terms of Tim, what you said earlier about X My Heart being the first song from Azerbaijan to not qualify, I really don't care for Hour of the Wolf.
Yeah.
And I absolutely would not have minded if that didn't qualify.
Yeah.
It was on that one was on the brink. That was 10th. And I was like, that would have done it. Like an Ariana Grande wannabe song.
Oh.
But no, you had to qualify.
Then it came in like 11th or something, or was it 10th?
Hour of the Wolf was 10th.
Yeah.
Hour of the Wolf was 10th, yeah.
Overall, though.
Oh, overall it came like 12th, I think.
Okay.
On the final.
It, yeah.
I'm saying nothing because Hour of the Wolf is my second place.
Wait till the 2015 retrospective.
Wait till the 2015 retrospective and then you can let loose. No, I mean, Playing with Numbers is such a good song. And like I met Molly after, because I was actually on the like the 2015 national selection in Ireland. So
nice.
So you know, like after, so I got to stay like behind and like drink at the after party and everything like that. It was fantastic. And I actually got to talk to Molly Sterling, who was only 16 at the time, as was I. And she was just one of the most down-to-earth. Like, you could just tell she was a very grounded sort of person. And, like, I think that really reflects in, like, her like in the song, because it just
The
comes across.
lyrics are just lovely.
Yeah.
I just brought them up again to have a look at because that's probably my favourite bit of the song, and it's just got some just I won't be your muse, fragile, misguided minds like mine only know how to use. Just that's lovely.
It's poetry, isn't it?
Art.
It's that meme at the minute where it's like, she was a poem, but they couldn't read.
But there's one line from that song though that like literally it kind of makes me cry a little bit. It was the one near the end by the chorus, like, give a little love was all my intent.
So, well, as an Irish person, I'll say thank you for that.
Ireland is one of my general most underrated countries.
Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Mostly because I have such a thing for Irish folk music, and it's just like, please just hook me up to that shit.
I'll do that, don't worry.
Thanks.
That'll happen outside this podcast.
That'll be the backstage.
Yeah.
That Eurovision pod after dark.
Ooh, let us know if you want that.
My second place, you would not believe me, but you know, we're still not traveling back as further as I'd like to, but mine is on 2013.
Okay.
And this was the first semi-final I've ever watched live. And I actually voted for this entry. I think it was 6 times. I think you were allowed to vote up to 20, and I think I voted 6 for it.
I really hope this is a certain song that I really hope it is.
But yeah, I like them when they were performing in their national final. They had a good staging. They looked great. On Malmö, they sounded great. The staging was great, but the costume wasn't.
Okay.
So yeah, my second place will be Moje 3 and Lubov Jesvuda.
Okay.
That is
Yes.
a tune.
Yeah, and that was... Oh, who was in Moje 3? It was...
Nevena
Bozovic, who has already participated in Junior Eurovision back then, and is now coming in. And you've also got Sarah Jovanovic and Mirna Radulovic. I'm so sorry if I butchered your surname. But yeah, they were put together. I think they were together in Privy Glass, Serbia. I think it's like the voice of the Serbia or something like that.
Yeah.
But yes, they were all put together because they were all there competing. So I'm guessing they all meshed well together. The vocals were great. The staging was great, but I didn't know what the hell they were doing with those costumes. And I think that's what kind of ruined it for me. Because Nevena sounded great, especially that high note. And I was a bit worried whether or not she was going to hit it. And, you know, a little bit of perseverance here and there. It worked. So she might not have qualified in 2013, but she got her vengeance back in 2019 when she qualified in Tel Aviv with her awesome Balkan ballad about love and all that kind of stuff. But with Serbia, the juries literally killed this song off because they came last with the jury, but just about made it to the top 10 for the televote. So overall, they all sounded great. It was a great closer, but I don't think Europe was ready for girl bands. So I'm gonna end this with Moje 3 walked so Hurricane could run.
Oh yeah. Well, Lyubov was Svuda, yeah, and now, but now it's all just like hasta la vista, baby. No, I mean Lyubov Svuda. I think 2013 just in general was a very strong year, and it's like especially in semi-final 1 there was a lot of sort of strong entries anyway, but there was a lot of sort of borderline qualifiers. There were definitely some that did qualify that really shouldn't have. Lithuania, I'm looking at you. But I mean, I think it was kind of carrying on the trend as well that that Serbia had at the time, that was actually Serbia failing to qualify for the final every 4 years. So it kind of had to carry on like the tradition, otherwise it was just gonna seem wrong, wasn't it?
Yep, and 4 years later, history repeated itself. How sad.
Be careful, Serbia, in 2021. Your time is
Oh
coming.
no! Don't say that. Don't say that. Because Hurricane comes, it's gonna come back on us. We do not think about that. If anything, I'm gonna come back to this episode if Hurricane comes back and NQs. I'm gonna point them towards you, Rory.
No, don't say that.
Just don't come back next year. Save 2022.
Yeah.
We're not saying Hasta la Vista just yet.
No, not yet.
Maybe not in 2021. Because we do not want you to NQ.
No, yes, just save it for another year, come back with another bop, and we'll be happy to join you. So for my second place, we're going to fast forward a little bit to 2014. I'm gonna see if you can kind of guess from this, okay? So, given how you guys should know my music taste by now, when it first came out, it wasn't necessarily very well received. The staging was rather eccentric, to say the least, and it did feature more than 2 people on stage.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think I know what it is.
Is it 3 Minutes to Earth?
Yes!
That was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes!
Nice!
Show us the stairway to come back to Earth. Skydivers, space jump. We get those 3 minutes longing for love. Peace and love.
It's do you know what? I will stick to this opinion till my last breath, and and I will say that if Georgia sent 3 Minutes to Earth now, it would qualify, because it, like, Europe is in this sort of moment of like appreciating not just pop music. There's a lot more sort of like behind it, and again, if people, I mean, yes, ethno jazz band Iriao didn't necessarily do that well, but I feel like this would have had a little bit more sort of commercial viability to it compared to Shani Gulusvis. And do you know what? I just really enjoy it. I think it's a really nice kind of folky, jazzy sound. I do often revisit, like, just the studio version I think is, like, stellar. Like, the ethnic sort of vocals of it, the jazzy vocals. Shout out to Jazzy. And it just seems like a really, really nice song, and it's just very pleasant to listen to. Now, obviously, like semi-final 2, there were some other sort of catastrophes that didn't necessarily qualify. It's not naming any names just in case they come up a little bit later. But I do think, of course, it wasn't going to qualify just because, like, Europe wasn't necessarily in the right mind frame for it. But I do think it's just a really pleasant song. And I personally enjoyed the parachute. I think it was a very intriguing concept for staging, because no one had ever done, like, a parachute before. Yeah, I just think it's a really nice song, you know?
It's one of those songs, I think, when I first heard it, I was quite alienated by the sound of it, but the more I listen to it, the more I really enjoy it. And I love pretty much everything Georgia sends, to be honest. I love the variety in what they send. I love their happiness to be themselves and to show off something that they like, rather than it being like, this is a Eurovision. And 3 Minutes to Earth is the sort of the perfect summation of that.
I think for me, it wasn't something that was on my radar at the time, because my cultural taste has not expanded. In 2014, it was just beginning, and it did not expand as yet. Montenegro got to me, but not Georgia at the time. But I will say that maybe it was a grower. It did take 5 years, 5 to 6 years. And also the fact that it was iconic that they had wine in their postcards, by the way.
Exactly. It has aged like a fine wine, so there's some real sort of allegory to it there somewhere.
And also, I'm going to take this time to... Isn't it one of the members have, recently...
Had passed away.
Yeah, so I would like to pay... Yeah, so we would like to pay respects.
No.
Yeah. Very sorry. Rest
I
in
didn't
peace.
know that.
That's sad.
Yeah.
My first is, again, a country where it is their only it's from 2016. It's Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Ljubav je začarani krug. Svako dođe na svoj red, svako plati svoj dug.
Oh.
Great choice.
Oh,
It
my-
is Bilal Midat, Dean, and Anna Rukna and Yala. Now, this song, again, it's to do with the jury. I think the televote had them 8th, but the jury had them 10th. And I think they came 11th overall, which is so painful. This song is another song where it's so atmospheric, like it's quite an intense song, but it just like it's another one of those songs that had an instant impact on me from like the first listen. And again, I don't think it was necessarily that well received when it first came out, and why this song is amazing. It's my first place in 2016, by the way. So yeah, this is definitely the one that hurts me the most, because it's the only time where my winner has not gone on to qualify for the final. So this is definitely the one that hurts the most. I get that some people didn't like what they were wearing on stage, but I still think that the staging suited the song. Yes, it was quite dark, but I think for that particular it worked. And I know some people don't like the rap. I feel like the rap adds to the song rather than it ruining the song, which some people say that the rap is the part that led to the non-qualification, because like the rap and ballad together don't really mix. But I just thought it was quite intense and quite punchy, and I feel like for my personal taste it was really nice together. And I feel like I can go on forever about how much I love this song, so I will let others have their opinion now.
I think with this one, what I don't get is how the jury ranked this so low, when personally for me, I think this is one of the entries where it has a lot of meaning, and the staging portrayed the meaning of that, especially at that time and at that period of time where certain countries were facing adversities. I would have thought that the juries would have ranked this a lot higher than what I'm seeing right now in front of my screen. So, televoters, great for understanding. Juries, what on earth is going on?
Maybe the televoters can stay after all.
Yeah.
Maybe they do deserve rights.
The televoters could always stay.
But the thing is, I'm looking at it and I think Bosnia had some friends in that semi-final, so I can see why it would have scored highly in some of it.
Greece, Croatia.
Austria as well. Montenegro too.
Yeah.
I think maybe the juries might not have appreciated it because there were so many different elements of it that it might have just come across a little bit messy. But I really did enjoy Bosnia's song that year, and it's a shame that is currently like the last song to have represented Bosnia.
It doesn't, like, I feel like, again, like, there's songs for Bosnia that deserve to NQ, and this wasn't one of them.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's their only NQ.
It's their
own-
NQ.
But I weren't one of the NQs in 1996, but we can save that for another day.
They'll save that for another retrospective.
And all I'm going to say is now, BHRT, I hope you are able to sort yourself out soon, and we hope to have you back in the contest shortly.
Yes, I'm going to personally call on Leila Babovic, because she is the head of delegation for Bosnia and Herzegovina. I hope you have managed to sort out your finances, and hopefully we can see you next year, because we miss you and we really want you back in the contest, okay? Layla, please come back.
We love you.
Hashtag join us.
Hashtag join us, hashtag Layla, hashtag Harry Matter Harry.
So my first place Forever Bitter non-qualifier is For You, Sheni Gulistvis by Ethno Jazz Band Iriau. Everything about it is just perfect to me. It has the most amazing harmonies. It's really linguistically lovely. I really love the sound. It's complex. It just makes me feel so sort of warm and wonderful. And I can sort of accept it not qualifying based on the staging, but as a song, I am still incredibly sad that this did not make it through to the to the final, because I can't stop listening to it. And it was my number 2 of 2018, and my number 1 was an automatic qualifier, so I am incredibly sad that this didn't make it.
Aww.
I can accept it not qualifying, however, I cannot, in that semi-final, accept it coming last.
Exactly. And I say that, I've said a few times, not necessarily, I don't know if I've actually said it on this podcast yet, but I've said it to everyone doing this podcast. My most hated song of all time came above it, and I'm absolutely not okay with that.
I mean,
I'm just looking at the non-qualifiers, and I can think of at least 3 that didn't qualify, that I'm like, yeah, Georgia deserved to be higher, because for me, I actually thought a jury would have respected it, because to me, like, from a jury standpoint, I thought it was staged pretty well. Like, the pyro and stuff did look really impressive, and they were vocally on point, so I personally would have thought the jury would have rewarded them more than they did.
I think what they needed on the staging was they needed something that was a bit more together. I feel like it was very much, here are some separate people doing their thing, whereas I think if they sort of had a moment where they all came together and sung together and sort of congregated, I think that would have really helped it, because I did feel a bit sort of just, here are some individuals, and you just don't get that in the music video, you don't get that from any of the other stuff that they've done, and I think that sort of possibly killed it.
I think that kind of together moment would have been really nice. You know, when in the music video for Shani Guli's Feast, is, you know, like when it like kind of, it has that kind of big crescendo and then it kind of goes really intimate where they're all kind of like like that,
yes.
Like that bit where they'd all kind of come together and then they'd all kind of huddle up, and that, I think that would like have created a really like intimate moment. So it could have mostly,
that would be so beautiful.
I do think on its own it actually would have been a really nice song. I do think the staging somewhat let it down in places, but then it also elevated it in other places. But I think it's something that should be appreciated. It didn't come totally last. It did manage to beat Malta by 5 points in the televoting results. So, you know, it didn't come last overall. Well, it did come last overall, but, you know, there was at least one country that did worse.
Mm-hmm.
I think that song just sums up exactly what I was saying about why I love Georgia as a Eurovision country so much.
All right, then. All right, for this one, it's the same year as Jazzy. My most robbed out of all the 8 years of Eurovision that I will never, ever forgive Europe for this. She's already represented her country once. She went back. And then what happened is she was so hyped up. Her performance looked sleek in her national final. And then she got to Stockholm thinking it will all be good. And then when we got to the 10th country,
I know
Malta gets announced.
Yeah, I know exactly
all
which one you're on
fandom,
about.
and all of the fandom loses their whole self after that.
Not only was this a very popular entry, I don't think Malta was very popular among the fandom.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
So
has anyone worked it out yet?
Most of us in 2016 were to not die.
So yeah, my number 1 robbed entry ever is "Hear Them Calling" by Greta Salome.
I hear them calling me, I hear them howling, singing now we coming home.
Wow.
What I really don't get is Greta was on her own on the stage. She had a lot of LED worked into her performance, and all of them required a lot of technicality precision, which she managed to ace on all of his technical rehearsals and on that performance. What I don't get is why the juries and the televoters her 13th, and she ended up placing 14th. Much worse, 14th. And what I don't get on this one is how the hell Montenegro beat this.
And San Marino as well.
And San Marino. No,
I
well,
can get San Marino
I
for the
get
meme
San
purposes, but
yeah, I can get San Marino for the meme, but still, I was so angry about that. But then again, Sergey was in the same semi, and there was a lot of murmurs about copying this, copying that. But then Greta clarified those by saying it's shadows and not projections. Because if you looked at Sergey, and if you looked at Mons, and if you looked at Greta's performance, they're all different in their own right and unique in their own right. And another thing I think which might have impeded it for not qualifying is because of the fact that in Sångvakeppnin, the stage was small. So she managed to make it work. And I don't think the same staging translated well in Eurovision. I think
Sorry, I was just saying that with the way that it was staged at Eurovision, like in Sångvakeppnin, like it was all very like you didn't see the rest of the stage, whereas like when it got to Eurovision with the camera work, it panned out a lot, so you were able to, it kind of shattered the illusion almost.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't have that sort of intimate feeling.
So yeah, I think that a lot of things from Sångvakeppnin to Eurovision kind of attributed to that. But then again, a lot of us are heartbroken that she didn't qualify, but we knew that, since 2016, we knew that she'd be fine because she's doing well on her own. I actually met her in Amsterdam a couple of years later and actually interviewed her, and she was in good and up spirits, and she did say about coming back, never say never. So if the stars seem to align somewhere in the future, please bring Greta Salome back for Iceland and get her vengeance and her qualifications, please. Thank you.
I mean, at least she did make it to the final once.
Yeah,
in 2012 with Beyoncé. So I guess it's good, but I think in her own solo sense, she needs to come back for sure.
And I'm one of those person that says I prefer hear them calling to never forget. So I'm ready for the slaughter
Same.
on Twitter coming over.
Same though.
yes, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So let the hate come my way on Twitter.
Hate's gonna hate.
I'm definitely I really like both. I very nearly included Hear Them Calling, but I feel what tipped it for me was that I didn't want to include two 2016 songs, and I felt like I knew this one was going to get brought up, so. I thought,
Oh yeah, no. If you say Greta Salome and Hear Them Calling and you ask them what their reaction is, 99.9% most of them would be scuffed and annoyed.
They're like, oh,
yeah.
We never forget that.
never forget.
What I did, what I said.
So for my absolutely robbed song of all time, we're going to take a little trip to Kiev in 2017.
Oh.
And it's time to get sad, boys, because my number one robbed placement is Blackbird.
Who sang when he was in my bed? Who sang when my heart sang? Now you remind me of something I'll never have.
Finland.
Oh.
Yeah, because this was my number one of 2017, and like when it got chosen, it was already controversial because there was another person who was the fan favorite, and then they gave a very bad vocal performance, and then Norma John didn't, and so everyone believed that Ulla had decided from the get-go that it was rigged, and so it didn't have a lot of stuff going for it in its initial run, but it's just like the song is so good, and like yes, I guess it doesn't really go anywhere, but the thing is, it doesn't need to. It's not supposed to, because like the whole point of the song is to capture that sort of sense of comatose, I guess you could say is the right way of saying it. But it's such a good song, and I don't like when you get to the staging in Kiev, like that staging, you could not have staged that any better. I think, well, okay, there's one thing that I guess Lena, the singer, she could have maybe done a little bit of a little like walk around kind of thing, maybe during the instrumental part, but I like when it didn't qualify. I was shocked. I literally couldn't leave my seat for about half an hour, and like once I did, I just like broke down because like that was the first time that, well, I mean, it wasn't the first time that my favorite hadn't qualified for the final, but it was the first time my number one had done really poorly, despite being a big fan favorite. And it hurts when you watch it back because, like, it's a phenomenal song. She sings it amazingly. And like just the swell at the end when everything just turns red and like the lush strings, and it's just it irritates me so much. I don't understand how it didn't qualify. I really don't understand. And then of all the people to get through, Greece decides to get through. Girl.
They can't get that high note right.
This is love.
The televote. The televote put this through. It was the jury that knocked it out.
Ridiculous.
And I, to this day, do not understand how that did not appeal to a jury. Because to me, I feel like in 2017, I was hyping stuff out. This will win the jury, not just for the semi-final, but the whole thing.
I don't get it. I don't
like
get it.
When I saw those split results, I don't think I've been more shocked in my life, because I thought, televote might be a bit iffy on this one, but the jury will put it through, no doubt. I have never been more wrong on a prediction.
But yeah, honestly, R.I.P. Blackbird. I'm still bitter. I will never get over it. And when people like start slandering it, girl.
I like to imagine Blackbird and Solveig as sort of twins. They're both like, fuck you, birds. Shut the fuck up.
To be fair though, like on this one, my reaction to this is on the internet, by the way. There's a video of me like reacting to the result live. And
I'm gonna have to see this.
Yeah, when Finland, along with Iceland, who was also my favorite in that semi, didn't qualify, and I was just like, no. And I think I got beat because I really hated Azerbaijan's song in 2017, and I was like praying, and I was really vocal about not wanting it to qualify.
For me, in 2017, I was so convinced my winner in 2017 from that semi would not, because I think for that last couple of years that they'd had some bad results, they hadn't qualified for a few years, and it's Moldova, by the way. And I was just like, oh yeah, it probably won't qualify. It won't do anything. There's just so many qualifiers like that are already to me certain qualifiers. Finland was one of them. I was like, yeah, this won't make it. It'll be Moldova or Greece. One of them won't make it. So I was like, when they were announced first, I was like, oh great, anything can happen now.
Done.
No, to be fair, Finland at the time was my second in the semi, and Albania was third, so I was pretty upset in the end. So,
honestly though, I'm gonna save this for a 2017 retrospective, but 2017 I think is one of the strongest years from the 2010s, and you know, when you have countries like Austria, Lithuania, Finland, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Portugal, Australia, and do you know what? Fuck it. Even San Marino, because San Marino was also a bop. Yeah, I mean, it was a very good year, and I just wish that Finland like was one of in that top 10, and yeah, Finland, I will be very bitter for you, because Norma John deserved a lot better, and I really hope they come back maybe not next year, but like in sometime soon, and just sort of redeem themselves.
Justice for Norma John.
Yes, justice for Norma John.
No.
Justice for Blackbird.
No, I'm just going to say this in general. What is the jury's problem with Finland? Like, some years I get it. Like, they kick them out the semi. Like, 2015, televotes put them through. The juries did their job. But it happened on 4 occasions this decade. Well, it happened on 3 occasions this decade, and they attempted to kick Sarah out as well.
The fans were not having it with Sarah. Like, no, you're getting through. We don't care. You're getting through. You're getting to that point. It was at that point where the bookies were like, they were putting her 12th in the semi and 12th to finish.
Yeah, because I think it had got to the point where the juries had picked up that the bookies had picked up Finland had a very unhappy history with the juries. And Monsters obviously was probably out of them all, well, apart from Animal and Pitta, was probably the one that was probably the least jury friendly. So it seemed like it was obviously going to get kicked out.
I'm so glad it
as
didn't.
per most Finnish entries.
Oh no, Finland, we love you. We'll do a Finland episode sometime soon for sure.
The televoters have always loved them. My honourable mention is Andorra 2007. I should have got the title up, so I actually don't remember. Like, it's by the artist is anonymous, but I can't remember how to pronounce the title.
Salve Melmon?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just think, again, I know this is actually a very controversial qualifier for reasons we will not get into. The Eastern voting bloc in that a semi-final of 28 songs.
Andorra,
I think if we had the system we have today, or we just had 2 semi-finals, this would have made the final.
Oh,
So, F in the chat.
F in the chat for Andorra, guys.
F in the chat for Andorra.
Andorra, please come back. We miss you.
It's like, now that I'm thinking about this, maybe this should have been on my list.
Well, it's too late now.
Too late now.
Is it too late now to say sorry?
Yeah, is it too late for redemption? Ooh.
It was too late for me to redeem myself in 1995.
Oh dear.
For the context, that was the year I was born.
Mood.
Mood.
Can I cheat and have 2 honourable mentions very quickly?
If you want, yeah, but they'll have to be like.
Okay, so my 2 honourable mentions are Heartbeat from Ireland in 2014 and Telemoves from Portugal in 2019.
I can get on board with 50% of that.
I can get on board with both of those.
For me, first one would be the one that everyone will agree on. 2013 San Marino Valentina Moneta Chrysalid. 11th,
Yes.
and I'm just gonna say, damn you, televoters.
The inspiration for this whole topic.
Yeah, and the other one would be from last year by 22 by Sarah McTurnan, because it's just a bop and easy listening. And it's still on the top of it's still within the top 20 of my playlist, or most listened to.
What?
This is a Sarah McTurnan's Wisdom Teeth hate account.
Well, I mean, when it's my birthday in February, you know what song I'm first going to put on? 22 by Sarah McTurnan.
Yes.
Number 22.
Baby,
We'll come
where
party
are
with
you?
And then my honourable mention is, again, probably very left field. But 2010, Marcin Brzezinski, Legenda. I think it was very underrated. And you know what? He a snack. We like it, you know? Plus, as well, who doesn't love a little bit of, like, Slavic culture put in there as well? I mean, like, you can't go wrong.
It's one of those
You can't go
songs.
wrong. You can't go
Like,
wrong.
when I watch it live, I'm like, I can't either I absolutely love this or absolutely hate it.
To be fair, I mean, the strangling bit is a bit much. But...
Like, it's probably one of the first Eurovision performances I've watched, and I've been like, okay.
But the song...
I really like this song, but I'm not sure about this staging.
Yeah.
But, like, I had it explained to me in depth what the staging meant, and I kind of warmed to it. So.
Yeah, I like the Apple idea. I mean, first off, you're getting one of your 5 a day watching this performance. B, you're watching a snack. I mean, the problem did lie within the strangling, I think. But the song itself was very mystical and very magical, and I'm all right with having, you know, it as an honourable mention. And it's a guilty pleasure, but it's not even really guilty. I just feel very much pleasure with it.
Song. So you have somebody that agrees with you.
Yay! Fantastic. Right. So just any sort of final points, I guess.
Regardless of they qualified or not, we all love the Eurovision songs. Well, we might have a love-hate relationship with the Eurovision songs, but, you know, they're there for a reason, and no one can take away that they are part of the 1,500 plus songs that have ever set foot on that stage. So well done to them.
Well done.
F in the
done.
chat for all of these songs.
Yeah, F in the chat, guys, but also a nice little clap too.
Hashtag bring Andorra back.
Bring Andorra back, bring Bosnia back, bring Slovakia back, bring everyone back.
Bring them all back to you.
Yeah!
Bring them all back to EU.
Bring them all back to EBU.
Don't stop, never
But,
give up.
reach the top. I've got bring all back
Bring
to
back
you.
to the EBU.
Bop, that is a bop. Even though that's not a Eurovision song, but it's still a bop. But yeah, so that brings us to the end of this episode of that Eurovision podcast. Again, I'd really love to thank Tim, Jazzy, and Rosie for coming along on this fantastic journey through all of the non-qualified songs. Hopefully they will be honoured and immortalised online for many years to come. And yeah, so please do follow us on all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at That Euro Podcast. We're also on Spotify as well if you want to give us a follow on there so you can know when the next episode comes out. And in the next couple of weeks, we'll be continuing on with our country retrospectives. We may do a couple of other year retrospectives as well. So yeah, just stay tuned and, watch this space because, even though we're sort of coming to the end of lockdown somewhat, we're still here to help make some fantastic content for you all. So shall we all say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye!